I ignored this thing on my lip. I was sick for a month and then it wouldn't go away, so apparently the world just kind of hates me. This is a small video because I'm working on a longer video that is taking way too long to make for me. And I've been busy with other things. So today, I would like to talk to you about Despicable Me 4. Ask a person about Illumination, the studio that made this movie, and depending on who you ask, you usually get one of two answers. Ask a mom or a child what they think about movies like Sing, The Secret Life of Pets, or I don't know, Hop. And they're most likely going to say, oh, it's cute, and I love it, and it's very funny. I'm a child, I love the Minions. Banana. Ask a regular internet user what they think about Illumination, and they're most likely going to say that they make lazy, cash and attention-grabbing movies for children. And you know, I don't blame a mom or a child for liking any of these movies because that is the exact people Illumination wants to cater to. And it is abundantly clear with Despicable Me 4. No, I'm not going to lie to you. When I was a child, I did also like the Despicable Me franchise because I am 16, I am way too young to be making YouTube videos. But me liking the earlier entries of the franchise and me disliking the later ones isn't just me looking through them with rose-tinted nostalgia glasses, because I think there's a clear shift that has happened between movies. Despicable Me 1 is the first movie Illumination ever made and probably the purest and most down-to-earth film that it is ever going to produce in its life. And I think most people will agree with me on that. Even people that hate Illumination with their whole heart agree that this movie is the peak of that studio. It was also a huge hit with audiences, resulting in this. While I love the first Despicable Me movie, not only is it the cause of several other much more shittier movies, but it is also a successful test for Chris Meledandri's, the CEO of Illumination's business plan, which is basically that they make a movie for extremely cheap, around 60 to 80 million, so there isn't a big risk if a movie fails to make a profit. But I don't think making a profit for them has been an issue for the past decade, but knowing what Illumination has been pumping out recently, I came into Despicable Me 4 with extremely low expectations, and fairly, you can compare the experience of watching this movie to like watching an old TV half asleep and imagining weird commercials, or scrolling on YouTube shorts at 4 AM just like thirsty for any kind of entertainment. See, the thing about Despicable Me 4 is that it's so disjointed that it kind of makes my head hurt thinking about it, and that's not an accident. But I got back to that. I don't know how to pace my videos. Despicable Me 1 had the usual 3-act structure with the occasional minion gag or like 4-minute side plot, but nothing too crazy. While Despicable Me 4 has 5 plots and probably more which I forgot, all happening simultaneously. There's an interview with Matt Stone and Trey Parker about how you can spot bad writing when the story is connected by and thens instead of therefores.
We can take these beats, which are basically the beats of your outline, and if the words and then belong between those beats, you're f***ed.
And Despicable Me 4's plots definitely feel incredibly disconnected and feels like the and then type of writing, or rather they try to connect them with buts, because is, and therefore, but they just feel like excuses so the story can happen, which just kind of feels like an excuse for gags to happen, so little Brian can go, wow, the minions are so funny, banana. Let's quickly compare the main moral dilemma between the first and the fourth one. So in the first movie, Gru's moral lesson at the end of the movie, the message of that movie, is that he should stop being selfish and self-centered and should realize that human connection is something worth sinking your time and energy into. What's the moral lesson of the fourth one? I genuinely don't know. Kidnapping a baby is bad. Being bad is bad. Thank you, Despicable Me 4, for teaching me such important values in life. That itself kind of shows how all of the 5 plots are just excuses for skits to happen, which is basically on the same level as something like Family Guy. 5 plots are so sandwiched together too, resulting in like a dense and headache-inducing experience similar to something like the Fred movies. Okay, not that bad, but Despicable Me 1 storyline maybe looked like this, Despicable Me 4's looks more like this, and it's really exhausting to watch. Which is a shame, because I think the moments in Despicable Me that actually leave you with something, the moments that in my opinion make the movie good, are the more quiet and intimate moments. because not only are they good on their own, but they also help to balance the movie out, so the more funny or more intense action-packed scenes hit harder. While all of that is bad and stuff, the cherry on top is that the whole movie is on top of this so oversaturated, figuratively and literally. Just by looking at the poster, I already feel overwhelmed. Saturation on the animation is so severe. It's something so bad, like I literally can't ignore it at all. It is so bad that I don't even know how they made it like this. It looks like they bumped it up to 50 in post-processing. Like, it looks like a Mr. Beast YouTube thumbnail, which is probably what they were going for. Not only is it saturated in the literal way, but is also saturated in a way where Despicable Me 4 relies heavily on not just reference humor, but just jangling keys in front of you with references, a cute baby, making a minion fart so Brian can go, wow, I'm so glad I live in a world where I can watch the minions fall over. This is the American dream. Banana. While watching the movie, you will never not be stimulated. Never. If you don't find one of the 5 plots entertaining, don't worry, because the movie will go, here a baby, here Boombaya by Blackpink, here epic minion moments, here BTS, here more BTS, here big minion, funny minion, small minion, superhero minion, stupid minion, smart minion, minion backpack, minion keys, minion plushie, minion life, Boombaya. Honestly, everything bad about the movie could be represented with its ending scene, because that scene is something so incredibly bad and shitty. So the movie tries to tie all the 5 plots together at the end unsuccessfully, which is like, whatever, it was mediocre, you know, it was an ending. We had a fight with an old lady and then with the main bad guy who was so incredibly mediocre that I didn't even feel like mentioning him in this video. But what happens after is the bad part. So Gru and the main villain went to school as kids, so they have kind of a bond together. They have a kind of enemies to friends kind of relationship dynamic by the end of the movie, and they fucking perform Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Tears in the ending scene with all of the fucking previous villains of the previous movies dancing with them. We got El Macho, Vector, this incel, every single one of them is in the crowd dancing. Fucking Vector does the floss. Instead of the movie coming up with an actual resolution, an actual climax and a payoff, it just nostalgia baits you. It's jangling keys in front of you once again. Everybody Wants to Rule the World, you know that song, right? Vector, remember him? El Macho, remember him? Scarlet, remember her? I don't. I had to Google what her name is. In a Cartoon Brew interview, Chris Meledandri said that his long-term goal at the studio is to build name recognition to the point that audiences will show up to a film simply because it was produced by Illumination. Quote, I think we're about the halfway mark at developing the Illumination brand. It's not yet at a place where it can change the fate of a movie in any way, shape or form. We're roughly at the levels that are about half of what Disney and Pixar are at. Which to me is a huge accomplishment because we're vastly younger and have only made a fraction of movies of Disney. And it hasn't been clearer than day with this movie. They don't want to have a plot or a message or characters. All they need you to do is to recognize stuff, and it works because business is booming and people unironically defend Illumination properties. I've seen 17-year-old teenagers on TikTok, which is older than me by the way, defending Illumination movies. I've literally seen a slideshow of ranking the Despicable movies done by a teenager just yesterday, ranking Minion movies as someone that has been a fan since 10 plus years, which is crazy by the way. And the description he gives for Despicable Me 4, the jokes were absolutely hilarious. I laughed the whole time. I cried happy tears in the last scene when they showed all the villains. Plot was awesome. Love the fart gun. It's so weird to see people fall for so obviously catered marketing. Like, it is so clear that Illumination is trying to market to teenagers who grew up with the first Despicable Me like me and is now trying to capitalize on current trends that teenagers recognize, like making a song with Yeats, having an active TikTok and Twitter account, making a song with Lil Yachty, putting nostalgia bait in their movies, encouraging funny and random real life trends. And when I confronted like real life people about this, I've had real life conversations with real people where they defended the Despicable Me, not even the Despicable Me franchise, the fucking Secret Life of Pets, Sing, fucking, what else did they do? I don't know. I recently watched the ContraPoints video about liminal spaces where she says, quote, "The excitement you feel about Tamagotchi and Pokemon, that is you being successfully marketed to as a child by Japanese corporations. Your insistence on denying this is because you cannot reconcile the pangs of this genuine nostalgia that you feel with cynical adult understanding of how marketing works. Now switch Tamagotchi and Pokemon to Despicable Me and switch Japanese corporations to Illumination, because that is exactly what is happening right now. Like, please, why are we feeling nostalgic for a company that intentionally uses cheaper labor outsourcing their animation, for a company that's whole motive is just making a profit, for a company that is just there so you can get attached to a brand? I mean, let me ask the audience. If you like this video and want to do something to help me, you can subscribe to my Patreon, you can follow me on Twitter, you can join the Discord, and you can subscribe and like the video. And I mean, that's about it. You can buy my Bitcoin. No, you can't. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.